So, sleep training. Is it, my son's over there, so I'm just keeping an eye on him. I'm out in the garden at the moment, at my parents' place. Is sleep training bad or good for parent and for baby? I have looked at both sides in depth, and I believe that it's good. I know it's very controversial and some parents swear by one or the other, and that's okay. That's totally fine. But this is, if those people want to start a YouTube channel, they can. This is my channel, and this is what I found to be so true for my own life. But that said, my children are only very young, so we will see, when they grow up, and I will be the first to admit that I was wrong. But what I'm doing right now is to the best of my ability with the knowledge that I have, the prayer that I've prayed, and the knowledge that God has given me and the help. So, I'm willing to be wrong. Absolutely willing to be wrong. I'll be sad if I am, but I've really asked and searched God for the answer for me, and I really believe that He's given me sleep training for my children and for my sanity. So let's dive in how to do it. So there's a really great book. It's called Baby Wise. There's also Child Wise. Maybe even Teenager Wise, but it's by a couple of people called the Ezzos, Ezzos, and really, really helpful. I'm going to change hands. Anyway, I'm just in my uniform right now. They've got a couple of great books that talk about how to sleep train. So I'll just dive into just a little bit of what I know. It's the premise that babies need schedule. They have it in the womb. It's not higgledy-piggledy whenever you want to eat, whenever you want to sleep. Babies fall into a natural rhythm in the womb. Your body organizes that, and it's the same when they're outside of the womb. Rhythm is helpful for them, just as it is humans of all ages. It's no different for babies. Rhythm makes sense. So there's a natural rhythm with most babies, healthy babies will fall into, which is, you eat, you play, or you sleep. One of those three things a baby will do. And if they're out of rhythm, then there can be issues, and I'll tell you why. If nobody feeds you until you cry, you will learn to cry a whole lot more because you need to eat. But if your parent preempts that you need to eat every 3 hours, which is normal for a newborn, well, then you cry a lot less, you whinge a lot less because your needs are being met. If you're put down to sleep on time before you get cranky and tired, then you don't get cranky and tired. It's really simple. So that's what the book teaches, basically, is to preempt needs instead of waiting for your infant to reach out and cry for it. You just preempt the needs, change the nappy on a schedule, feed on a schedule, sleep on a schedule, and then they're much happier, less clingy babies. Imagine how you feel when you're kind of hungry, tired, maybe you feel like not being around people. Imagine how you feel when you're tired but you don't know what's wrong. You've had a really bad sleep, you've just all of a sudden had a bad day and you don't know why, and you realize, I just need a nap. Hey, I just need a snack and a nap and I'll be fine. Babies don't know what's going on. Anyway. So basically it's just to help your infant fall into a natural rhythm of first to feed, and then a little bit of play, and then sleep. So feed might take 50 minutes when they're first born, and that's okay. Take as long as you need. Get them a good feed. And play a little bit, and a play might be 2 minutes. 30 seconds in your face saying, I love you, you're so cute, you're amazing, God made you, thank you for being amazing. It might be only a 30-second play. It might be really small because they've got to go down in a minute. Got to go to sleep. What's the matter? Would you like to go walking? And then you put them on their belly for, 2 or 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Maybe they're a good player and they're not ready for sleep yet. And then as soon as they start rubbing eyes, or they don't really do that when they're infants. They more like play with their ear when they're tired. Or they start getting a little bit grizzly, then they go down to sleep. So a 45-minute feed, a 10 or 5-minute play, and then off to bed for 2 hours. And then you do that again. Feed as soon as they wake, little play, back down to sleep. And you do that for the first couple of months, 2 months. Playing in the puddle here. Yay. And it's great, they fall into that rhythm pretty easily. Sleep training in particular is giving them a love hug. I love you, you're amazing, praise the Lord for you. And then, without too much ado, without too much of that, 5 minutes at the most, you put them on their belly or their back, whatever you're doing. You put a blanket on, you turn off the light and go out of the room. Wow, look at that. And I've done that with both of my children, all their naps from the time that they're born. And most babies, when they're very, very young, they will look around for about 5 minutes. They might have a whinge for 5 minutes. They might even go into a full cry. But they'll do that, and then after 5 or 10 minutes, they'll go to sleep. If they've been fed properly. If they're not feeding well, they will cry and cry and cry for 45 minutes, right? And it's easier from the beginning. If you start from the beginning, day one, it's much, much easier. If they're already 6 months and they know that you're going to rock them to sleep, well, then they'll put up much more of a fuss. So you've just got to, I think, start from the beginning. If you can't, it's already your child is already 2 or 3 years old, and you're still helping them get to sleep. That's okay. It's called training for a reason. So what you can do is you can start in the room for 5 minutes, and then be at the door for 1 minute, and then say, I'm going now, and turn off the light and shut the door, and just take it all slowly. So if they're gutsing it for 10 minutes straight, which I don't really recommend, I do 5 minutes now. But they're really crying, give it 5 minutes, right? Allow them to soothe on their own. And if they're not soothing, go in there, pick them up, give them a pat, say, I love you, I care about you, pray with them, and then put them back down. Make it 30 seconds max. And then if they do that again, you just continue the cycle. It might even take a whole nap's worth. But you're training them, hey, you need to go to sleep on your own, you can do it. Some proof that this works. You shouldn't just take my advice. The book talks about this, but you just observe in your own life. If you have friends or you're around mothers or you've just become a mother, ask other mothers, oh, how's your baby sleeping? Did your baby sleep well? You can ask anybody, any mother pretty much, what's going on with their children. Normally, if you find someone who's slept trained, their baby sleeps in their own bed and they sleep all the way through, and they're quite a happy, adjusted child. And I'm not at all picking on people who don't sleep train. And I've actually met people who have not slept trained, and their babies and their children are nice and fine, and they're not clingy and overbearing. But the overwhelming population of people that I talk to, look at that. The overwhelming amount of people who talk about, just the sleep I didn't get last night, and my children are so clingy and they're staying in my bed until they're 6 years old. And I don't know how much I can put up with this. And all of those parents, they don't sleep train. All of them. I ask them specifically because I'm on a mission. I want to be a mother who gathers as much information from people that I know, personal stories. It's just the way I am. I like knowing, does the data back up my own personal experience? And in this scenario, I can pretty much 100% guarantee that if someone's having trouble sleeping because of their children, they did not bother to sleep train, and their child needs an hour or two to adjust with their parent to get to sleep, and sleep time's a nightmare for the parent, and they don't sleep well. They get up during the night for snacks and for comfort and for breastfeeding when they're 1.5 years old. That's not normal. Babies at 2 months have the digestion capacity to sleep all the way through. And when I say all the way through, I mean 8 hours, not the typical 10 or 12 hours that a toddler will have. Anyway, my time is going up and I don't want to yammer on, but yeah, I really recommend borrowing Babywise. You'll find one in an op shop for sure. They're everywhere. They're really popular for a really good reason. I found it was fantastic. They're a Christian couple. They talk about breastfeeding and sleep training. They talk about all baby issues pretty much, and they're really great. How to play with your kids and how to help them develop in the best possible way. So yeah, I really recommend that. I say that a lot, don't I? I really recommend that. It's one of my catchphrases. There you go. Maybe put it on a t-shirt. I really recommend that. Anyway, yeah, so that cycle, if you are having it the other way around, so they're getting up, they're playing, and then they're feeding before bed, they will start to rely and associate the feeding with bedtime, because sometimes they'll nurse to sleep, which is easy to do. But it also has been linked to, later on in life, it's been linked to comfort eating. So teenagers will comfort eat, and it can lead to obesity. It can lead to bad eating habits if they nurse to sleep. That's only new research, so it could be incorrect, but it doesn't sound that far-fetched to me. You know, if you're feeding to sleep, to go to sleep for comfort and not for nutrition, well then that kind of makes sense. If you're doing that in your teenage lives, it sometimes resurges when they're a teenager and it comes back, that memory. Anyway, could be all rubbish, I don't know. But I have found that if I wait for my child to tell me when he's hungry, he learns that even going on into toddler years, that is his mode of communication. He doesn't learn to communicate politely and nicely because at that point his body is screaming out for food, and I haven't preempted his needs. So he learns his communication is crying, which is not really correct. It shouldn't be correct. And it's really not that hard to put on a schedule and to figure out their needs. You know, their needs are to eat and to sleep and to play and to have loves and cuddles and things like that. Anyway, I hope that answered some of your questions. Honestly, please write in the comments or even text me if you want to, some questions. My number is 0422 061975. I am honestly fine with you communicating with me, texting me if you need a question answered. Not that I'm very good at answering questions, but I have read a lot and I had a lot of questions, and I've searched for the answers from God, and God has given me really amazing authors and really amazing people in general in my life that have just answered my questions for me. And the other thing is, do not stress. If your baby's not sleeping and you've already gotten into a habit of anything, don't go cold turkey. I go cold turkey a lot and it just creates a lot of stress, hey. Take it easy on yourself, really relax, because as soon as you get stressed, your baby feels it, and you're putting all of that stress onto your baby. They can feel it, honestly, they can feel it, and it's in your voice and it's in your energy and everything, and it's in your whole attitude towards them, you know, and you're not as loving and patient if you're stressed. So don't make yourself stressed. Take it easy. If it takes 6 months to get them into a good sleeping pattern, take 6 months. What's 6 months of their whole life, you know, or what's 6 months of 3 or 4 years when they're young, or 5? Because I've honestly heard of parents that are just still dealing with sleep troubles when they're 9 and 10 and 11 years old, and sleep troubles morphs into wetting the bed and all that stuff. So yeah, seriously, take it easy on yourself. Try it, but don't stress out. It really isn't worth it, because all of the benefits of sleeping more for babies will be completely overridden by the stress. So the stress will cause more problems than this lack of sleep, and from the whinging and from the, you know, everything else. So don't trade one evil for the other, you know. Just relax. That is all I have to say. There'll probably be heaps more that I remember later, but that's as best I can do without notes. See you later.